Hey everyone, how are you doing? You have Mike here, and today we're taking a look at the LF2000 by Lenofocus. So this here is a really cool little light. It actually came in this really small box. So this here is a DIY do-it-yourself light, basically put together a kit where it comes with these 4 panels, the 2 rails, and the Mean Well XLG driver. It also has a potentiometer on it, and it's a really cool little kit that you can pick up from Lenofocus. The price is pretty reasonable too. It's only about $300 Canadian, $340 Canadian. And yeah, it's just a really cool little light. Now, this is kind of like a transformer light because you can put it into a couple different modes. So it can either be a 3x3 setup like you see here, or this could be a 4x2 or a 4x4 setup. So it can go lengthwise up to almost 4 feet. So it's a pretty neat little light. This here uses Samsung LM301B diodes, and as well as I just mentioned, a XLG 240 Mean Well driver. So this light here runs at about 200 watts, and it uses about 224 pieces of LEDs. Mentioning the LEDs, it's using 5000 and 3000K, and it's also using the 660 deep red and the 730 nanometer IR chips. So it does have like I said, a potentiometer on it. So it does have a nice dimmer. And it's just a really bright and really nice light. So, as you all can see, there's no real heatsink on this light. So we're gonna have to take a look at how warm it gets when we get into the testing part of it. But we'll get into that in a few moments. So before I get too far, what I would like to do is show you how to set up these 2 separate styles or 2 configurations. It only takes a couple minutes to really set these lights up. So we're going to do a quick little demonstration on that. Then we're going to jump into the testing where we test the PAR, how hot these boards are going to get. We're going to test the wattage from the wall. So let's get into it right now. I'm excited to show you the results. All right, guys, so here is the LF200. Let's make this really super simple. I'm just going to put the driver away for now. I'll just explain how the driver goes, because the driver kind of connects like this onto you. You can really tell where the holes are. The holes match up for everything, so it really kind of makes it pretty easy. So let's just put this off to the side for now, and we'll show you how this light works, because this is a very unique light as it can be used in 2 separate ways. I'm going to turn around the rails just to show you. So you can have it arranged like this, which is really cool. But you can also do it in a lengthwise fashion, where this light goes all the way 4 feet. And it'll go from about here on one side, and the other panel would go like this on this side. And it would be too wide, so it would work perfectly in a 4x2 tent, which is really cool. So for right now, we're going to set it up into the wider fashion like this. Do want to make a point that you have all your connections facing the same way when you put them onto your panels. All right, so let's make this easier here. The driver, as you can tell, just kind of sits right there. Let's get our screwdriver, and let's put in the last 4 screws. All right, so the potentiometer is going to come on this side here. I'm just going to loosen it up. Get my washers on the right side. Okay, perfect. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of divide these here in 2. We want our wires to come through. I want them to come through like this. Or maybe we can go like this. Yeah, let's try it like this. Now for this here, it's pretty important. Your brown wire is your positive, and your blue wire is your negative. So I'm just going to start off by kind of pushing them both there. And we'll push in the negative, and then simply push down the button, push in the positive. They slide in really super easy, making it really easy to connect. So for this one, we're going to do the same. But as you can see, the board is opposite on this side, so the positive comes on this side. Everything is clearly marked though, as you can see on the board. It says positive and negative on this side. All right, so as you've seen, it only took us a couple moments to get this light put together. So now that it's together, let's take a look at testing in the two different configurations that we have. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so here we have the Lenofocus 200. This here has been running for 8 hours. It is 22.6 degrees in here. Let's take a look at the top of the board. Hitting about the same. About the same. Yeah, about the same. 40 degrees. Let's get you a close-up look here. 40 degrees Celsius, 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's do the same with the top of the driver. Top of the driver is 56.3 degrees Celsius, 132 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's check the bottom of the board now. .5 degrees Celsius and 114 degrees Fahrenheit. So there you have it, guys. So the testing, guys. What did you think about the testing? We're taking a look at this light, especially with the PAR meter down here. Like, wow, this is pretty, we're actually getting some pretty decent results. So I have the PAR map in front of me with this configuration here for the 12 inches. And we were getting 1,000, 1,006 in the center. Just, these are some pretty high numbers for this light here, covering a total 12 or 3x3 area. You can use this to flower a 3x3 area, no problem. So taking a look at the 14 inch, 14 inch is even better, kind of along the edges here in the reflective. The higher it is, it's kind of giving more even light. So once again, at a 14 inch, this is probably your recommended hang height for this light. And it comes back as a UMOL to a joule as 2.5, which is freaking pretty good, man. No complaints there. So taking a look at this light, if we were just going to throw it in the center of the floor in a non-reflective environment. So how well would this light do if we just put it in the middle of a 10-foot room and just want to see how far it spreads? So here we have those numbers here, and even with this with no reflective background at all, you can still get a 2.5. You could still flower a 2.5 by 2.5 area with this light easily, just by looking at the par chart. You can tell. So really impressive. So now we take a look at the light in the different configuration. Not as impressive, I'm going to say, as it was in this configuration here, but still pretty good. And if you dropped it a little lower, you can get that a little higher as well above your plants. But if you had two of these in a 4x4, you'd be set with this light. So pretty impressive overall. Now there could be a couple different things on the newer versions of this light that you see on Amazon. There is actually a gel coating on this, so it is protected. And this light here does not have that. But in the future, if you're watching this even a week from now, that's all going to be changed. They're saying that they've already shipped them out and they should be selling within the next couple of days. I think in America they actually have the gel coating on it now. But yeah, this is going to happen here really soon, and I'm kind of excited to see how this light turns out. So temperature-wise, how hot did this light run? You've seen from the testing of the temp, 40 degrees on top. That's really low for not even having a heat sink. 40 degrees that's well acceptable. Like all these other lights that we've been testing, they're running warmer than that. And yeah, I'm not sure. This light here is doing a pretty good job cooling, even with what it has. So 56 on top of the driver. we know the drivers get pretty warm. Bottom of the light was 45. That's pretty much on par with what we see with some of the other lights. That's the same range, and that was 8 hours of runtime at 22.3 ambient room temperature. So no heatsink, still runs really cool. I don't know how to explain that, but it seems to work fairly fine for what it's doing. I imagine it's just because it's not a solid board. It gets to there's like a little space in between the heat, so the heat gets to expel better. I'm not really sure how it works, but I'm not going to argue with it. It is what it is, and it runs cool enough that we're not having to worry about anything damaging our lights. We're just overheating. And if you're going to run this in a tent or anything, you're probably going to run this with some sort of ventilation in there anyway, so it's going to run even cooler, because we were basically just cooking it here with no fan, no nothing. So 40 on the top's pretty good, 45 on the bottom's still acceptable. Driver temp, it is what it is. They're made to run up to, I believe, 90 degrees Celsius, so it got a lot of room to play there. Yeah, it is what it is, guys. It's a pretty neat little light. So I would like to thank everybody for watching. Hope we covered everything in this video. If you have any questions, please throw them down below. I will make sure that I put a link for this light too in the description. So once again, I would like to thank everybody for watching, and you all have yourself a great day. Take care.